Hi everyone. I just wanted to make this video to help reassure teachers who suddenly found out that they are going to have to teach remote or teach hybrid this coming year. So, first of all, don't freak out. You've got this. You already know how to teach. You are just going to take everything that you have been doing already in your regular classroom and you're just going to tweak it a little bit to be able to do it online. So there's lots of things we do in our classrooms, and we can still do them over Zoom or Google Meets or whatever. We just have to tweak them to make them work for online learning. And I'm going to show you some examples for that, and then I'm just going to talk a little bit about hybrid, how it works in hybrid at the end. So here's some common techniques, things that we do in our classroom anyway, and then the equivalent of how to do it online. So entry and exit tickets. We like to activate that prior knowledge. We like to kind of do an informal assessment. Where are they? What did they understand from the other day? All that kind of thing. Well, in the classroom, we hand out slips of paper to do that at the beginning or the end of class, and they turn them in. Can't do that anymore. Pandemic, we may not even be in the same room with them. So, on remote, you can do it very easily just through the chat function. So just ask them a question. You could even, if you don't want it just to be said in class, you can make a little Google slide or type it on the screen somehow, share your screen in a Google Doc. Put the question there and have them just answer it in the chat. Or, something like PearDeck. If you feel like, yeah, I can handle the chat, I'm up for trying some new things, then, look into PearDeck or those other things that can help you be a little bit more interactive. But even if you can't handle that, the chat is right there. Just ask a question and have them answer in the chat very easily. The next thing, classroom agendas. We have them on our board. Sometimes we have goals or expectations for the lesson, all that kind of stuff. We usually write it on the whiteboard or the blackboard in the front of our room. Well, there's no reason that you can't post an agenda. If you use Google Classroom, do it as material or announcement. In Canvas, announcement, all those LMS have announcement, or even just when everybody is in the Zoom room or in the Google Meet, just have a little Google slide with it all written out. So when they come into class, they can see this is what we're doing that day. And having an agenda, we all know, is a really good thing because it reduces anxiety. It shows this is what we're doing. This is why it's important. Kids know what's going to happen next. And that's just a good thing for everybody. It even helps you plan what you're planning to do in class and keeps you on track. Okay, so we do small group projects and discussions when we're in the classroom. We get the kids, they're all together. It's very cute. They talk to each other, all that kind of stuff. So you can totally still do that with breakout rooms. Zoom has them. I believe I read that Google Meets is going to have them. I'm not sure about Microsoft Teams, but they probably do too. So you just break kids into breakout rooms. You can divide them up either randomly or put them in assigned groups if you like. If you want to differentiate or group certain kids together or even give them slightly different tasks, you can do that. And then it makes it a more personal setting. It can be very weird on Zoom to talk when there's 24 people on Zoom and no one's sure, hey, I don't want to talk because what if someone else wants to talk? But once you break kids into a room of 2, 3, or 4, it's much easier for them to talk and interact with each other. So, very easy. Bring them apart in the classroom, bring them apart online. It's great. In class, you have students come up to the whiteboard. You might, put a math equation on the board or some other thing and, some biology diagram, and they point to things and they draw things and they label things. So you have them do that in the classroom. They can totally do that online too. If you're using Zoom, there is annotate. So whatever you have on your screen that's sharing, they should be able to write and draw on. Or if you have a Google slide that you made, then if you give them the editable link and just drop it right in the chat. Just copy and paste it right in the chat so they can all click on it and all go into it. Then they can type on it, or Google Slides has lots of drawing tools as well. Or there is Jamboard. Again, you just give them the link, they go in there, they can do all those different kinds of things. So many ways to do that interactive whiteboard kind of thing. Carousel activity. We like to get kids up and moving around. It's good pedagogy. It's good class engagement when we're actually physically in our classrooms. Can't do that anymore because of the pandemic. So instead of putting a piece of paper in each corner of the room and kids going around with markers, we essentially do the same thing online. So we can give them a link to an editable Google slide. Again, just copy and paste that link right into the chat. They all go into it and they can all start typing. So here, these are just 4 Google Slides, and they can go through and answer them, go from one to another. Or if you put them in breakout rooms first, I don't know if you can see here, but it says room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4. You could have them each start with that one and then have to, rotate through them. If you were in room 1, work on that first, and then you could tell them, okay, switch to the next one. So then room 1 would move to the room 2 slide, then the room 3 slide, and they could cycle through. So just give them that. They can write on them, they could draw on them, they could do whatever they want on them. And in a breakout room, it's nice because if it's just 2 or 3 of them, then they can actually talk with each other first before they have someone write. So we do that with carousels. We might have little groups going around, and maybe one person is the recorder, so they discuss with each other and then they write. So, lots of engagement there. In the classroom, we check for understanding. We say, okay, I just explained this thing. If you really have no idea what I just said, give me 1 finger. If you kind of understand it, 2. If you think you know it, but not enough to explain it to someone, give me 3 fingers. And if you totally got it, give me 4. We check for understanding, thumbs up, thumbs down, all those kind of things. Well, you can very easily do that in a number of ways. So just in Zoom, we have things like the yes, the no, the go slower, the go faster. We've got thumbs up, thumbs down. These are all in the little participant window. So if the kids click on participants, they see a little window, and these things are down there. A couple of them are under the 3 dots, the more. So just teach them where they are. And you could even assign, okay, if you really understand it, press yes. If you totally don't understand it, press no. If you understand it a little bit, press go slower, and it's kind of a dipstick. It shows you where they are. There's also things like there's built-in polls that you can do in Zoom, and then there's also Google Forms or PearDeck for multiple choice question kind of things. So you can set those up ahead of time, and that will help you check for understanding. So again, stuff we do in our classroom, we can do it online. Individual work. We explain something in class, and then we give them time to work on it. They draw a picture, they do some math problems, all that kind of stuff, right? Do that in your Zoom or Google Meet. Have them quietly work, but just, they're still on the computer. Class has not ended. And the great thing is you're still there. So if they're working on a math problem and then they're all just sitting there, you see their heads bowed a little bit, and you see the little pencils moving. And then if one of them has a question, they can either just say, hey, teacher, is the 3 supposed to be cubed, or is it supposed to be, I'm not quite sure what's supposed to happen next, just like they would in class, and yeah, the other kids will overhear. It's not that big a deal. If they're a little shy about it, they can always send you a private message over chat. And if you want to meet with them one-on-one privately, you could even set up a breakout room. If you go to assign breakout rooms, you can actually just put them in it, and you can go in and help them one-on-one. But otherwise, it's not bad. Just like in the classroom, everybody hears you helping someone. It's not bad to do it over Zoom or Google Meet. So yes, give them work time, especially if there's something bigger that they need to do on their own later, but it's with those skills. If you teach them new skills, give them time to practice them while you're there with them over Zoom or Google Meets. In the classroom, when we switch between types of work, we do not lecture for the whole class period. We wouldn't necessarily even have them work on a group project the whole class period. We want to, they do a pair share, they summarize something, they do a critique, they do that thumbs up, thumbs down, checking for understanding, they brainstorm, we do some icebreakers, all that kind of stuff. You do that in the classroom, just figure out how to do it remote. You want those peaks and valleys, those ups and downs from going to large group things to small group things to more active things to more passive things. You want to combat that Zoom fatigue, that glazed eye kind of thing, and that tiredness that can happen from being over Zoom. So, we balance what's going on with different kinds of activities. So just do it, just don't be put off by all these things. You know how to teach. If you don't know how to teach, then there's other videos for you to watch, to increase classroom engagement and stuff. But if you know how to teach already, you just do the same things online. You just tweak them a little bit. Or maybe you use, PearDeck to help you do this one kind of thing, or a Google slide to help you do this other kind of thing. But, start with what you know. Start with your curriculum. You don't have to rewrite everything. You take what you do already and you just tweak it. You got this. That's what I just said. All right. So one note about hybrid. The best way to do hybrid, actually, and this may be what you're doing in class, is you've got, maybe 10 kids in your classroom, and then you've got 10 kids on computers at home. Well, one of the best ways to set that up is actually have everybody on their computers. So even the kids in your class are on computers. And that kind of levels everything out for everybody because everybody's on Zoom together. You might have to have the kids in the classroom wear headphones or put it on mute, but you have everybody on Zoom together, and then essentially you just teach remote. So you're teaching remote to everybody, including the people that happen to be physically in the same room with you. I know it's a shift that we're not usually used to, but this has been kind of shown to be the best way to approach hybrid teaching. Don't teach the kids in the room and try and bring in the remote kids. Teach the remote kids and loop in the kids in the room. And that's good too, because then they're all equal with each other. They're all getting the same experience, and they can even be in groups with each other. A kid in your classroom and a kid that's remote can be working together. So that's really nice. So it's the same thing. You're just teaching remote. So everything we've talked about so far, you just do when you're teaching hybrid. So I hope that this video has somewhat helped you kind of calm down and realize that you can do this because, really you can. And if you're overwhelmed by all the different, there's PearDeck and Flipgrid and there's Padlet and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot you can do just over Zoom. There's a lot that you can do just by giving them a link to like a Google slide or something else and just talk about things, just using breakout rooms and other strategies. It just, do what you're comfortable with first, and then maybe slowly say, I'm going to learn about Padlet. So maybe for next couple of weeks, I might have us do Padlet some. And then maybe after that, you say, I hear people talking about PearDeck. I'm going to watch a bunch of YouTube videos about PearDeck. Do that. And then, bring that in. But don't feel like, I have to use a million different software things every class. No, it's confusing. It's overwhelming. Don't do it. If it doesn't help your teaching, don't do it. Stick to what you know and tweak it so it works online. And you'll be fine.